What's going on, hockey fans? We are back. I guess I'm in my quasi home. Lucas is in his home. We're back in Jersey, at least. We are settled down for a moment. The first time in 11 days we're not in a car or rink or somewhere in the country talking hockey with the great coaching staffs around the world. It's time to talk USPHL hockey. This week we have a goaltenders playing out of his mind, a recap of our trip around the world, and an NCDC recap of the weekend and standings. We got all this and more. Dan K Show coming at you right now. All right, hockey fans, it's time for Dan K's three things. And thing number one is when you head out to Kentucky and you play some golf, you better be ready for the noise. We took on the University of Louisville Cards coaching staff, and what a job from Grizzle and the Graham. These guys were hitting the ball 300,000 miles and playing some good golf. It was a battle royale. More from that trip coming up over the next couple up-and-coming days and weeks here. Thing number two, broadcaster battle was crazy this week. That's our Fantasy Broadcaster Hockey League. You can head to www.dankshow.com to find the power rankings and where your favorite broadcaster from around the USPHL Nation, hashtag USPHL Nation, ranks right now after week 2 in the broadcaster battle. Thing number 3, there is a goaltender right now in Buffalo who deserves praise, gold stars, spotlights, and everything aplenty, and we are going to give that to him right now. We got to talk about the Buffalo Stampede and Netminder. Not even going to say his name yet, because first I got to say a different name. I got to introduce in my right-hand man, Mike Consigliere, Montfrere from another mayor, the man, the myth, the Lucas. What's going on, Lucas?
And this has been an absolute heck of a last couple of days. It doesn't feel like 11 days. I'll tell you that much. It felt like we were crisscrossing the country for weeks, maybe months at a time. It was both. But it went just as fast. We had an absolute, great time hanging out with coaches, getting to meet some teams, getting to talk to the guys a little bit, and capping it off with that Detroit showcase. Not only was it a chance to see some teams we haven't seen yet this season in person, or we might not see until middle of winter, but it was also a chance to get to meet some new coaches, to meet some of the new staff members, and just to get a little bit of a finger on the pulse a little bit, Dan, of what's going on in the Great Lakes, the Midwest East.
100%. It was an incredible trip, a great time. You can go to dankshow.com as well. We have our highlighter players article out there. It's all the guys that Dan K got a chance to see and Lucas J got a chance to see. We break them down. We give their scouting reports, and we give the scouts that little inside juicy scoop that you get when you have the Dan K Show on your hockey TV broadcast. Great job there by, I guess, me on this one. Lucas does everything else. I might as well do one thing. But what we do, Lucas, here, this block A, we always do block A, block B, and the empty net. We have 3 blocks in this Dan K Show, and they vary in time and differences and all that. But this is a very one-of-a-kind segment today. We're going to talk netminders around the league, but we have to put the spotlight on one young man right now in the USPHL Premier. This is a year 2004 birth year. Okay, Lucas? That goes by the name of Luke Remini. We got a chance to see him on our barnstorming tour. I'm going to be writing an entire article about Luke. That's his own highlighter player article for dankshow.com that'll be coming out soon. But Luke has been incredible against all odds, man. This kid has faced more than 106. He's faced 106 shots more than the next netminder in the same amount of games. He's seen 513 shots this year, okay? He's got a 90 saves percentage. He saved 903% of the shots faced this season. This kid's got 463 saves. That is more than 108 more saves than the next closest in competition with him. Lucas, 7 of his 9 starts this year or performances this year, he has seen more than 50 shots faced. This is a really young Buffalo team. It's nothing against the Buffalo Stampede roster at all, right? This is a really young Buffalo team that has been put together for the future here. They are building something from the ground up. You got Coach Bonsignor out there who gets the game. This guy's been a professional through and through, and he went out there with the mentality of we're going to start young, We're going to bring in the core now, and we are going to go through the bumps and bruises of being a young team. And guess what? You have a year 2004 in net and Luc Remigny, who, no joke, might be the best netminder in the country right now that's an 04 birth year.
Yeah, I mean, when we got a chance to watch him in person, it was really incredible the way that he carried himself in net. The fundamentals are there. We watched him go post to post with ease, really, really carrying in the crease well, staying powerful, right? Strong lower half, some good decision making as well, especially for an 04. But as much as we sometimes talk about, the qualities of a netminder, and he's got a bunch of them, I think the biggest thing is actually the numbers behind his save percentage, right? That .903. What does that mean, right? Well, that means if you take the average, about 25 to 30 shots faced a game, that means that he's given up about 2 to 3 goals a game, right? And that falls right in line. That .903 falls right in line with what you expect out of an 04. And actually, Dan, I think that trends on the side of what you'd be happy to get out of an 04, that 2 to 3 goal per game performance. So I just think we're looking at a really special talent here. And I like that he's surrounded with young skaters. I like that they all get a chance to develop together. And I have a lot of faith in the Stampede system's ability to really take Remigny and mold him into an absolutely fantastic top-tier netminder.
Yeah, and this kid is right now a diamond in the rough who I refuse to allow to be a diamond in the rough. This kid is a diamond that should be on a display case in the middle of a gosh darn museum, man. This kid is so good, so stellar. We got a chance to watch him take on the undefeated Wilkes-Barre Scranton Knights, a team that Ray Welsh has put together, yet another Ray Welsh wagon, a Welsh's wagon, baby. This is not a wagon full of Welsh's fruit juice. This is Welsh, and this is Raymond Welsh, who has put together another darn wagon. And this young man gave them everything they could handle. He kept the game close. He kept his squad in it. He continued to scrape, continued to claw. Luc Remigny is the real deal. And I look you right in the eyes through the magic of television, scouts around the country, college scouts, professional scouts. This young man is a professional level talent down the road. Yes, he has seasoning that's needed. Yes, there's time to grow. Yes, he's seeing a lot of shots faced. Yes, goals are going in the back of the net. Take your goals against average and throw it out the stupid window with the numbers of shots this young man is facing. This young man is more battle-tested than any netminder in the country. I'm telling you right now that Luc Remigny has a huge future in front of him. You can find out more about Luc Remigny at USPHL.com, or you could just stick and reach out to me, because at this point, man, I'm going to unofficially start up the Luc Remigny fan club because this kid is so good.
Yeah, I mean, it was really, really fantastic. I mean, I think one of the things, Dan, that we saw across the country on this road trip was some of the net minding talent from around the country. And certainly Luc was an early impression. There's a lot of good net minding, Dan, that can be found around USPHL Nation. And maybe we start with something that we both saw at the Detroit showcase, including maybe a netminder who is absolutely lights out unless you and I are on the call.
Yeah, it's Freddie Soderberg, man. And even I was watching back today, our pregame show, as we talked through all of our highlighter players in the weekend that I'm now writing about and we're going to have on here by the time this is on the air. And Freddie went shutty while we were on our broadcast on the pregame show, not calling the game. So in games not called by the Dane K show, Freddie Soderberg has a .25 goals against average. That is an 0.25 goals against average. And he saved 99% of the shots. That's stupid. That's stupid. That's without us on the call. With us on the call, 3 goals against average with about an 8-9 saves percentage. It's all our fault. We apologize profusely to Freddie Soderberg and the entire Soderberg family for that.
Yeah, I think we'll you know what? We'll take 2 of those goals. This way our goals against average can go up. Currently it's at a 0 because we've never faced a shot on net. We'll take those goals. Freddie, you can retain your fantastic goals against average. But I mean, even in that game, I mean, it's one of those things where you look at the individual game performances as well. And it's similar to what we said with the goals against, with a lot of the times, I think when we talk about goals against, the individual games don't matter so much. Then you look at the overall, you look at the individual performances. But I think with netminding, Dan, it comes down to what you watch on hockey TV, what you watch in person. How do these netminders react to certain situations, right? How do these different goalies react to, 2-on-1s, to scrambles in front of the net? Those are the things I think that are more important to rate a goalie on. And I think if you haven't seen Soderberg yet, if you haven't watched one of his games, you really need to sit down and tune in.
Yeah, and Lucas, even despite the Dan K show, this 0-2 has 137 saves made, 972 saves percentage, and an 0.80 goals against average. That means it's physically impossible to win a game against the Metro Jets development program when he's in the net. You look at the other netminders there. We could talk about I am William Augustine. We could talk about Louis-Pierre Fortier, the French Wall. That's what we call him. Or we could talk about Daniel Misbehaving Miscavige all day long. But one more guy I want to talk about, Lucas, in the Premier before we talk about just a couple more netminders and move along at the elite and NCDC levels, is a guy by the name of Dylan Delaire with the Potomac Patriots. And he kind of goes by the same mantra of this Luc Remigny. And I think it, number one, puts a great spotlight on Delaire. Number two, doubles up the spotlight on Remigny about how incredible he is. But Delaire's faced the third most shots in the USPHL Premier, okay? 10 games played, 3-6 on the season. He's got a 3.96 goals against average, a 90 saves percentage as well, basically a 91. It's 908. He's seen 391 shots. He stopped 355, which is the second most saves overall in the league. So he's seen the third most shots, made the second most saves overall, still 108 less than the next up, which is Luc Remigny. But Delaire has been, stellar for his squad.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of performances where you just can't ask for any more. And, as the season continues to move forward, you'll see sort of these netminders develop a lot more. And I think it's going to be very interesting to watch what they're able to produce, how these different individual stats make out, and how the teams kind of move as well.
Yeah, and we go to the elite real quick, Lucas. Some of the guys that I want to point out here, you talk about Jacob Mork for the Florida Eels, who's 4-0 on the year with a 957 saves percentage. That leads the way for all netminders there. This young man has been absolutely lights out. You look in net in Tampa, and there's a face that we're all used to at this point, right, Lucas? And Evan Spinella. He just spins, wins, man. They're spinning and winning. We got the Knicks. The Knicks are a good basketball team for the first time since I was a youngster. Since I was just a little guy, the last time the Knicks were good. Patrick yelling, "We got a good team." And you hear Walt Clyde Frazier, Clyde Glide, saying, "Spinning and winning." And they are spinning and winning right now in Tampa Bay with Evan Spinella between the pipes, 6-1-0, 920 saves percentage. And then Tristan Falsetto, a Florida Junior Blade who we've seen in person, Lucas. He's faced the most shots. We talk about guys who face the most shots. He's seen the most shots in the elite right now at 285. He's only allowed 26 goals past him. He's got a 335 and a 91 saves percentage. And he's 6-2. He's got a winning record seeing the most shots in the elite.
Dan, there's so much talent in the elite right now that people, even that are listening to me record this show, are getting excited and screaming.
They're screaming.
They're just yelling. Their pets' heads are falling off. I think that one of the best things about the way that the USPHL is set up is it provides enough of a level for each type of netminder, I think, to really find their own path, right? It provides, like we said, a path for an 04 playing at one level. It provides, paths for young netminders. It provides a little more development for maybe a netminder who's close to age out but needs some more practice, needs some more work. One of the things we say with defensemen too in the USPHL is that it's not just about the numbers. You have to go in and you have to watch somebody. And I really think that a lot of these netminders in the elite as well, they deserve a lot of looks on hockey TV and in person. So if you're a scout, if you're another coach, if you're just a parent trying to see maybe who your son has to compete with, there's a lot of good premier and elite events that are coming up. The most the heavy premier and elite event coming up is going to be the IHC Showcase in November, but there will be some premier teams at the Beantown this weekend. So if you're in the area, you should really come out and take a look.
100% get out to Beantown. Before we get into our NCDC talk real quick, Lucas, a quick run through a couple NCDC netminders I just want to spotlight, and then we'll kick it to the NCDC discussion. Jacob Tordner of the Philadelphia Hockey Club. We're going to talk about how close this South Division is in the NCDC. This kid's 4-2-3-0-1. He has 4 losses in overtime or a shootout, okay? He's seen the most shots in the NCDC, the second most by 1. Colin Wynn has seen 323 in 10 starts. Tordner's seen 322 in 10 starts. He's got a 2.23 goals against average, a 9.32 saves percentage. He's gone shutty, and it's taken OT or a shootout to beat him 4 of the 6 times he's lost. He's been the best guy in the league so far. Look at Cam Smith, who's kind of taken the helm away from Harrison Chesney in that PAL net. 5-2-0 with a 2.17 and a 9.35. This guy's gone shutty as well. And I mean, you talk about Colin Wynn, who wins no matter what. He starts everything for this Junior Bruins team, 6-2-1 on the year, 9.07. You look at Nick Bernstein and Vinny Castelletti. Bernstein, who moves up from the Richmond Generals into this Twin City side, then Castelletti, who moves up from the Blue Ox in Minnesota to the New Hampshire Junior Monarchs. The Cradle of College working itself in magic right there and in spades. The NCDC, a lot of great net minding right now, but even more to get into, Lucas. It's time to break down the NCDC this week heading into Beantown and talk about some of the big shifting and shaking that can come from the NCDC. Easy for me to say. I'm too excited. I'm tongue-tied. Let's go. NCDC talk coming up next.
The Dan K Show would like to thank all of our fantastic sponsors for the work that they do. If you're interested in partnering with the Dan K Show, reach out to @the_Dan K Show on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and you too can work with the most watched show in junior hockey.
Welcome back, folks. You know, if there's one thing, maybe the only thing that I love more about a deep dive on net minding and defense, it might be talking about the NCDC, especially because we've got an NCDC South Division that a certain color commentator thought that we might see a bit of a shakeup in this season. And Dan, we've got a little more than a shakeup. We're getting close to a pretty sizable earthquake here in the South.
Yeah, the one thing I do want to point out, though, you talked about Jersey Hitmen versus the field at the start of the year, right? They're starting to get that Tiger Woods vibe to them, where it's you're always wondering, are the Hitmen going to win or not, right?
Mm-hmm.
The one thing I will say, in this South Division right now, after this weekend, after Beantown, after a local series between the Philadelphia Hockey Club and Jersey Hitmen, we could be in a multitude of places. Any team right now, any team, all 6, Utica, Jersey, PAL, Rockets, Philly, Connecticut, any team could be in first place, and any team here could be in dead last by the end of this weekend alone. That is how crazy we are right now in the NCDC South. When I say that, though, the Hitmen struggled early, okay? They are a fresh team. They are a new team. There are a lot of new faces in the building there. There's a lot of growing pains going on because that's what happens in junior hockey. You saw it happen with IHC a handful of years ago where they were unbeatable back-to-back years, and then all of a sudden everybody left, right? And it was a brand new squad, a brand new team. You had to restart, and it took a while to really start meshing again and get that together. The Hitmen are in that spot right now where we're at the beginning of the year, and I think they've come out of it, and I think they've steadied the ship and righted the ship. And they should at 7-4, right? With those 4 losses, you look at that 5 when you count the OT loss. With 5 losses for them, 4 in regulation, 1 in OT, you think to yourself, we got to run away. This Hitmen team, they usually lose 5 in an entire year. They lost 5 in the first 12. Let's run away with it. Nobody has, Lucas. No one has run and hit. They are just 1 point out of first place right now. They're tied with PAL, 1 point back of the Utica Junior Comets. They're a point ahead of the Rockets Hockey Club. They're ahead of Philly. I think if you're the Hitmen, you look at this as it's not how we wanted to start record-wise. It's not how we wanted it to look, but we're exactly where we want to be.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Even look at the team that's in overall first, the Junior Bruins. They're only 1 point up on Utica and only 2 points up on the Hitmen, right? In that North Division. The North Division a little bit more spread out, but even that Junior Bruins side is not that far away. So I think one of the most interesting things is is how close the South Division is. The South Division, Dan, has the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 7th overall ranked team in the NCDC. Right. So that tells you that division is very closely matched. That tells you that division, it's almost like a Midwest West kind of a vibe, right? They can't really decide who's going to be the top dog week in and week out. I think it's shaping up to be a really interesting division and a really interesting weekend. And I'm really happy that we're going to get to be on site with this, because we're almost going to get to see the daily swings of the NCDC from our perch at the Beantown.
Yeah, and I do want to also say, out of those 5 losses for the Hitmen, 2 of those at the hand of the Boston Junior Bruins, right?
Mm-hmm.
So even the Junior Bruins, who have that 4-point swing out of getting 2 wins over the Jersey Hitmen, they still sit just 2 points ahead of them, right? They still sit just 2 points ahead of them. Same amount of games played, no games in hand for them. Nobody ran away. Everybody had the opportunity to run away, and nobody did. If I'm looking at all of these teams in the fray right now, and I say, who am I happiest to be in this very moment? You talked about a really smart color commentator who talked about the South Division. I now go to an even smarter play-by-play guy who looked at a team in the North and said they're going to win at least the playoff, go to the championship this year. I didn't guarantee a divisional win in the season, but I did say that they would go to the championship game matchup this season, the South Shore Kings. Okay. And the South Shore Kings are 6-4-1-0. They are 3-0-1-0. So they've gotten a point in their last 4 straight games. In their last 10 games, they've gotten a point out of 7 of 10. Okay. At least a point, if not 2. They sit in 2nd place right now in the North, an extra game in hand on the Junior Bruins, who are 4 points ahead of them. And I think they're the team where you don't feel as bad about not running away from the Hitmen when they started hot, because you started cold. South Shore started cold, got hot at that first showcase weekend for the Junior Bruins shootout, and have continued ever since.
Yeah, I mean, it's the streaks that are important, right? You look at your streaky teams right now. South Shore Kings, 3-0-1 in their last 4. The Boston Advantage, 4 wins in their last 4. Jersey Hitmen, 3 wins in their last 3. Pal Junior Islanders, 4 wins in their last 4. The teams that can put together those streaks are the teams that are the most dangerous, because those are the ones you're always watching out for when you get, especially when you get into the last couple of weeks of the season, right? Those teams that can put those streaks together pretty reliably. Those are the ones that all of a sudden can jump their way into the playoffs and knock teams out at the last minute. Right now, like I said, those Hitmen, Pal Junior Islanders, South Shore Kings, and the Boston Advantage, I think, are the biggest story right now with that 4 wins in their last 4-game streak.
Yeah, and you look at South Shore's schedule this weekend at the Beantown, Lucas. They've got a chance. Not often in these showcase setups, a lot of times you're playing the cross-division foe, right? You're going cross-division. Here at Beantown, for them, they've got an interesting schedule. They're going to play the New Hampshire Junior Monarchs, the Northern Cyclones, both in division. So they can not only help themselves personally with points, but they can put even more space between the Northern Cyclones, and the New Hampshire Junior Monarchs. Then the tough game comes on Saturday. Saturday, Lucas, they take on this really difficult to deal with Utica Junior Comets side.
Yeah, I think that might be a really, really interesting one to get a hold of here, because I think this is going to show you a bit of a mini power ranking, right, between these divisions. It's gonna kind of give you a little bit of an end of October update as we start to get into November, because you start to get those breaks involved, right? The Thanksgiving break, that holiday break right before the Winter Showcase. So I think that'll be an interesting one to watch. Again, that one too, Dan, I don't think necessarily, I mean, obviously the 2 points you'll take, but I think that's another one where you have to look at the quality of the game as well. If it's back and forth, if it's very competitive, that is a much different 3-2 win than a potentially dominant 3-2 win. With one team kind of dominating the entire way and the other team maybe scoring kind of a tic-tac goal at the end of the game. So I think the quality of that game is going to be really important rather than just the score and the 2 points.
And you put it this way, it's going to be South Shore's 3rd and final game ending the weekend. It's going to be Utica's 1st. So that's the other thing. Yep. You catch each other on the wrong side of the dial here. So South Shore is going to have a real chance to put themselves on the map with the tired legs victory over a fresh squad from Utica. It's going to be fun to watch, an incredible Beantown showcase ahead. Lucas, we'll be up there Saturday, Sunday, and Monday doing this whole thing, man. We're basically, it's a Dan K Show takeover at this point. We're working together with the squad, the incredible folks up there with the Boston Junior Bruins, and really helping to drive this thing through the moon, as we say, for a great organization.
Yeah, it's going to be an absolute blast. Catch us there all weekend at the _Dan K Show, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Speaking of social media, it's time for the Empty Net.
Welcome to the Empty Net.
Welcome back. It's time for the Empty Net. Before we get started, remember, at the _Dan K Show, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Those are the places to find out social media coverage. You can also go to www.dankshow.com, explore our content, use the contact form. And one of the most recent articles that's up on the website is the Broadcaster Battle Power Rankings. Every year, Dan and I run a fantasy hockey league for broadcasters across the USPHL. And last year, the Aviators' Joe Sokoa won. He came in defending his title. And you can get the full scoop on the website. But, Dan, I think it'd be interesting to talk about your start and my start real quick.
Yeah.
You started 2-0.
I'm 2-0. I'm 2-0. I started 2-0. And I if there's one thing people know about Dan K, it's Dan K is a humble man. And Dan K doesn't brag. Dan K would never be, Dan K is not someone who would talk about himself in the third person while addressing his humility. Dan K is not someone who would take a 2-0 start, let it get to his head, and then create entire entrepreneurial endeavor in the world of hockey with his name on it as the show name, suits, blazers, all this kind of stuff. Not stuff Dan K would do. But he is 2-0 in fantasy hockey, and he's pretty stellar and pretty handsome. But no, Lucas, it's been a good start for me. What I will say, though, I snuck by a 6-5 win over, an 8-3 win and an 8-3 win. So I won 8-3 over Brendan Price of NoCo. I won 8-3 over Sean the Show Bretherick. That was the battle of Mr. Show versus The Show. And Mr. Show, the guy with his name on it, won, of course. And that was a big win for him, for Dan K again. But 2-0, Lucas, my thing about my start, I power rank these things. You can go check them out. I had myself lowest on the totem pole of the 2-0s because every other 2-0 team's a wagon right now, and they've been unbeatable.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. I mean, it's a good idea, right? And it just shows that, like, we take, even if it's a fantasy hockey league power rankings, we take them seriously, right? Every other team is sort of built like a wagon. We definitely feature in the strength of schedule. And speaking of strength of schedule, now we go to a guy in me who is intentionally set up to have a tough strength of schedule. Intentionally placed.
Hold on. Stop it right there. Let's stop you right there. Okay. You have one extra game against Joe Sokoa.
And if I miss the playoffs by one game,
then there you go. Then you can argue it if that happens. But also it gives you a distinct advantage. If you beat Joe Sokoa 2 more times, you actually can make up 2 games on Joe Sokoa that you couldn't make if you didn't have the tougher schedule. Joe also has a tougher schedule too, and he's 2-0.
That is fair. And you have to go back and see kind of the whole power rankings on www.dankshow.com. You can navigate to the blog posts from the top bar. But I will say this, my 0-2 start is not a talent issue. It is a managerial issue. My issue specifically. I did not put the right guys in. I did not make the right moves to ensure that I had enough games, to be quite frank. My 2 losses, I had I think 2 to 3, maybe even 4 less games than my opponent. That combined with, just getting some average net minding performances resulted in 2 losses. So we made a couple of small changes. I've actually got a waiver claim right now that I'm waiting to go through.
Jump on waivers and also put a claim in.
Just start putting claims in and see if you also go for the right guy. I've got 2 waiver claims in right now. Just trying to grab some more guys that are off some hot starts while I've got some guys that are a little bit hurt, a little banged up right out of the gate. So we'll come back to it. I have full confidence in my team.
I will say of the 0-2 teams, you were the highest ranked in my power rankings. So that is, you did get that from me. A lot of respect from me, mad props, as they say. But yes, it is It is a difficult schedule for Lucas this year. He will have one extra game against the defending champion. You can follow along with the broadcaster battle with hashtag broadcaster battle all season long and see if your favorite voice of the USPHL wins that one. Lucas, we got a Michigan goal. That's our other empty net moment right now. Michigan goal from Drake Rays, the Barnish, baby. Drake Barnish gets it done, goes Michigander. They're calling it the lacrosse goal, but when you do it in Michigan, it's the Michigan. Take a gander at Drake Barnish.
It's the Michigan goal in Michigan against a team from Michigan. It's a triple Michigan.
Triple Michigan, baby. Triple Mich. It's the Trip Mich. Last year, we had the Misha Sonk. This year, we got the Triple Mich. That's what we got this year. Unleash the fury, Mitch. Unleash the fury. It's beating time for Drake Barnish.
What a great goal it was. I think the reaction to the goal is even better. So we're going to play right now with the sound on so you can hear the reaction in the rink to the goal being scored. The reaction, I think, really makes it, Dan. That just, the defense gives him the respect, too. It's like bumping a receiver that you know is going to go deep on you, and he just pulls it out of nowhere. A great job by Drake, who's got a whole bunch of potential records on his plate this year.
Absolutely ridiculous. You should also, after you're done with that goal, go check out an incredible TikTok. It's at @the_Dan Show. This week, we were twinning them. There's more TikToks to come. We put a lot of work in with the coaching staffs from around the USPHL this weekend to put together another incredible TikTok, similar to that Full House video you saw that you'll see soon. So please go to TikTok, follow at @the_Dan Show. Lucas, it's time to go. Your parting words before we get in the road to the Beantown. We got to get in the car right now. Bye, Lucas. Dan K, when he's on the mic, it's always hockey night. Thank you to Remastered Sleep. remasteredsleep.com. Dan K Show 10 at checkout for 10% off. Thank you to Elite Junior Profiles on the hat right here. We had a couple folks signing up this weekend. Your power plays this season have been brought to you by EliteJRProfiles.com. Take your recruiting profile to the next level. Thank you to the incredible folks around the world. Selly Salt keeps seasoning that food with that salt. Keep getting your seasonings going. When Dan K's on the mic, it's always hockey night. That's dankshow.com for you if you want to go find out more about the highlighter players from our last trip here barnstorming the U.S. Whoa, you're on the moon.
I'm in space. Ooh.
Oh, no, I'm falling.
Oh, no.
We're good.